people. Here we go. Some news headlines. Let's go. Hey, good people. So they found the car. This is obviously the Casey and Vicky White, no relation, assistant director, promoted, was officer of the year like 3 or 4 times in a row. And she duped everybody and stole a freaking murderer suspect. Anyway, let's take a look at this.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Schaefer, Way 31 News. The getaway car used by Casey White and Vicky White was found abandoned in the Bethesda area of Williamson County, Tennessee. That's south of Nashville.
Okay, they're not showing any plates on this car, and I want to make sure that everybody understands. If these cops did not put this car in the system, because they knew the car, they knew where she bought it, they knew the name she bought it under. Anytime you're looking for a fugitive, oh, I didn't make my little picture up there. You guys can't see me. Hang on. There I am. Hey, gun people. I forgot my little picture. So anytime that you're chasing somebody and you know a car on a vehicle trip, you put that in NCIC, which is the national, basically warrant checks, National Inlet Crime, NCIC, National Crimes Inlet Computers. I can't remember what the hell it means. But anyway, it's the major program that if anybody runs this car or this person, they get a hit. So they have the two as escape suspects in a warrant. So if you run their name, you're going to get a hit. Dangerous, flagged, armed and wanted, felon, on the run. So you get this flag. This car should have been the same way. They either had a plate, and even if they switched the plate, you put the VIN number in it. And then if any plate or that VIN number is run, you get a hit. So this car was found 2 hours after they left. Or it was 2 hours away, and I think they found it like 6 hours. They've had this car in this tow yard for over a week. Meanwhile, our competent government and the marshals are putting out flyers saying this is the car we're looking for. And I've heard it called copper, brown, bronze, and now this place is calling it orange. And then I got some idiot viewers coming here telling me I'm colorblind because I don't know what freaking fuchsia freaking oranges or whatever. It's just crazy that what people want to come here and comment and tell me how I got the color wrong. Anyway, I digress, freaking crybabies. So this car should have been in the system, and as soon as they towed it, they have to notify the agency, they have to notify law enforcement and say, hey, we just towed a car and it's in our lot. And any competent agency will enter that car, and when they enter that car, it will get a hit and flag, hey, that car is wanted and a freaking armed and dangerous escape. And so there's all kind of, either the agency didn't put the car in the system, the tow company didn't notify the police department, the police department that was notified didn't enter the car into the system, or they entered in the system, got the hit, and ignored it. So just complete total failure on all aspects of government on why we didn't know this car was in custody for over a week and we're looking for the wrong freaking car. I mean, this could have really helped the investigation because they found the car so quick. Had they put it in the system and got a hit, they could immediately, got agents and everybody there. They could have started grabbing films on which way direction, what they're looking like, how they're dressed. We could have got all this information. You could have done a quick canvas of all the neighbors in the area because they probably went and used someone's phone, knocked on the door, asked for help. You want to make sure and check that area now for any stolen cars, any missing people, anybody reported missing or haven't been heard from, because they could have killed them and took their car. So the quicker you get on all that shit, your odds of solving the case is better. I mean, it's no accident that they hired this freaking woman and they're still saying she's a great woman. And they're still making excuses because her husband died. And they think that affected her on why she did this. He died 2 years ago. And now they're saying she was still suffering and that's probably why she did it. They're making excuses for her already. Just like they did to promote her to assistant director so she was allowed to do this. It's just ridiculous. All right, here we go.
Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton is giving an update on the discovery.
They had gotten a call from a local tow company that I guess realized that they had the car in their impound lot.
Realized they had it. So what happened is the guy that towed it a week ago saw this report and went, shit, I think I towed that car. And he connected the dots, kind of like investigators and cops should be doing. And he went, maybe we should check. And that's how they found out. Not because of good, competent police work, because the government has hired a lot of really good people that with standards. They didn't hire anybody just because what bathroom they use or what color. We didn't lower the standard. No, government hired all these quality people and they found a car. No, like usual, the pesky citizens that get abused by our government are the ones that end up helping the government.
They received a call at tow company, or actually Williamson County Sheriff's Office, received a call last Friday afternoon at 1:50 p.m.
You gotta talk slow. I got
That the car, there was an abandoned car on whatever road. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the road. They responded. The car was towed at 2:37 p.m. last Friday. So that means that that's about a 2-hour drive from here. So about 3 hours and 50 minutes after they left Lawrence, Alabama, they abandoned that vehicle.
That's huge. So if you have a car, you don't want to leave that car. And he says they think it had mechanical problems because of where it was left. And he didn't explain it real well, but most of my viewers will get it. But a lot of people don't understand that because they're just not, they're layperson when it comes to these terms. So when a suspect uses a getaway car, they've made plans, they switch the plates, they have alternative plates, they change the color, they do things to use this car to get as far away as they can. The car was in Tennessee. I think they started in Alabama, so we know they're heading northbound. So obviously the search, if we've got resources down south because we think they're heading south, we can delete that and either move or redirect those resources up north because now we know they're up there. Now, there's nothing to say that when they abandoned the car, they changed their plan and now they're heading south. Whatever. I mean, it's not likely. They got money, they got a car, they had a plan, and when they got in a car, they headed north. So I would think their plan is to head north. They have either things set up to where they can stay, a bed and breakfast. They've made reservations maybe. They may have, had friends. This guy was supposedly in some prison gangs. Maybe they've got prison gang chapters or guys that have helped set up things for him now that he's out. I don't know. But if he started to go north right when they escaped, they're probably going to continue to go north. If it was my investigation, I would redirect all my forces for north. I wouldn't be searching south anymore. I'd still leave the flyers. I'd still make sure the flyers are accurate, but we would start searching that area. But right now, what's happening where they found a car, even though it's a week late, is they should be doing a canvass of everywhere because when they abandoned that car, they had to do one or two things. They either walked or they got a ride. And they got a ride because they stole a car, because they hitchhiked, or because they snagged a car and did a carjacking and they killed the dude. Or it's not likely that they took a guy hostage and went somewhere because when they let him go, he would have called the cops. So they either killed a guy, they hitchhiked, or they walked. And then what do? Did they buy a car? Did they steal a car? Did they have somebody waiting? Did they make a phone call and have somebody come pick them up? Did they get on a bus? All these things need to be worked out, and you need to be checking all those until we find out. But ideally, if they would have got it early, we could have hit the path that they drove, the highway, and maybe got pictures of them. We'd know what they were wearing, if they changed their appearance, how much they're carrying, do they have suitcases, etc. One report said they think they have a wheelchair now to hide his height. She pushes him around a wheelchair because he's sitting in a wheelchair. Now he doesn't look so tall. Now people aren't looking for the tall guy with all the tats, and they ignore the guy in the wheelchair. Pretty smart. Good way to get him to move around. And then if the cops do come, he can stand up and run or pull a gun out. Plus, if you're in a wheelchair, you can carry a gun under your leg. It's easier to conceal shit. You can have a bag on the back. I mean, it's a really good way to carry guns, drugs, and be ready to ambush somebody if they approach you. So the wheelchair theory, if they've got this theory that they possibly have a wheelchair, somebody's reported it. She bought a wheelchair. They have some information about that. They didn't just make up, well, maybe they got a wheelchair. Something leads them to believe they have a wheelchair.
We're assuming where it was abandoned, and it was abandoned so quickly that they probably had mechanical problems with it. Because it was abandoned pretty much out in the middle of nowhere on the side of a county road where it would obviously draw attention and be found.
Okay, so when he says it was, he kind of contradicts it. He says it was in the middle of nowhere, but then it was on the side of the road where it could be found. Obviously, it was found because somebody called it in on an abandoned vehicle and they came and towed it. So it wasn't I think what he's trying to say is it wasn't like they didn't drive it in a river. Like if I was going to get rid of it, I would drive it in a river. I'd drive it off a bridge. I'd drive it down a hill and thick brushy area so the trees would cover it up. I may try to conceal it. This was kind of parked on the side of the road in an open place, wasn't trying to conceal. They didn't move it. They didn't try to hide it. That leads to believe that it was mechanical. Go figure. The woman with the brainchild of this to get him out bought a car that didn't work. Rick, it's not her fault. It was some used car salesman that took advantage of her because she was a woman. All right, whatever.
So we know now where the car is. We know what direction they went. Right now we're trying to canvass.
This dude's just like, I'm going to get pictures in the middle of this shit. I'll just jump in here and get pictures and start clicking in the middle of this news interview. What the hell are you thinking, dude?
The area for any witnesses. Also trying to research, see if any stolen vehicles were reported in that area during that time. So that's what we're following up on. I have copies of the
Hang on, come back and get some more
Get a
pictures.
copy of that
Okay.
before you leave. We redacted the complainant's information. But we're sort of back to square one as far as the vehicle description right now. As I said, we're working on trying to see if there are any stolen vehicles in that area. I'm hoping that we'll get a break in that.
Stolen vehicles, good. He should have stolen vehicles. They should be looking for any missing persons or somebody that's reported missing. They should be knocking on doors and saying, do you have any members that were supposed to be home and that they're late or that you haven't heard from, or is there somebody that was coming here, etc., that you thought were coming and they didn't, and you haven't talked to that person since then or something. Those are the questions they should be asking everybody.
But we're no longer looking for the Ford Edge. I also have with me our district attorney, Chris Connolly, and he has an update for you on the
governor's office this morning and submitted a written request for her to give us the
This guy wants to, give the governor a pat on the back because he wants some political clout. So he's going to give the governor some political points to get reelected, and in turn, she's going to support him when he runs for reelection. Meanwhile, they're both using taxpayer money like they're doing something personally to help find this guy. And ain't nothing coming out of their pocket. They're using government funds to get free publicity. Okay? Call me cynical, but I hate when I see through this bullshit because, I watched the DAs do that, and it was just sickening the way they use government money to freaking, plaster their name everywhere, and they put it on the letterhead, and they put it on the cars, and they put it on the badges, and they put it on, and they want their name everywhere because they get free publicity every time they use government funds to change, documentation and buildings, and every time they put a sign up with their name, they're getting free publicity, but they're using taxpayer dollars. It's bullshit.
the maximum reward possible under state law, which that's $5,000 per person. I submitted a written request, and within 1 hour of getting that request, she just provided me
Wow, in 1 hour. Man, government's so competent when it comes to giving away taxpayer money. Amazing.
with the proclamation approving that maximum request for the award. And she states that the circumstances surrounding this event indicate that every effort should be made to apprehend and arrest Vicky White and Casey White. So we thank the governor's office for their prompt response and are certainly hopeful that this may encourage or incentivize someone to come forward.
Thank the governor. Thank the governor because she's going to thank me when I run for election. I'm thanking her. I'm getting her votes. She's going to get me votes. Meanwhile, you freaking taxpayers need to start paying more property taxes and more money because the border's open, and we got to educate all these kids that are coming across the border, and we got to give all these single moms money, and we got to help all these poor people that come across the border illegally and whatever.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You got extended total? Does it make it higher?
That makes the total reward for Casey White $15,000. The total reward for Vicky White $10,000.
Look, anybody's going to take free cash. I mean, if I knew where these idiots were, I'd take the free cash. Whatever. I mean,
So a total of $25,000 in reward money now.
if it was $200, I'd take it. I'd be like, I don't give a shit. $200. They need to be in freaking jail. I don't care.
Okay, with that, I'll take a few questions.
Sure.
Well, I mean, not really. Obviously, we'd like to know on Friday. They found the car before we knew they were gone. So,
Listen to the think about that for a second. They found the car that they used to get away before the sheriff's department even knew they were gone. Wow. That is freaking mind-boggling. So they were able to escape, change cars, leave, dump their car, drive 2.5 hours north, have the car break down, have the car found and towed before the sheriff's department even know they escaped. Holy shit. Yeah, see, this is what happens when you hire incompetent and you promote incompetent and you try to be PC and you want to make people feel good because it's about feelings. Meanwhile, taxpayers and tax money is wasted, and taxpayers are put at risk because people want to feel good when they see a nice young little blonde lady as the assistant director. Yay! Women's rights! Yay!
Oh, I mean, there's no fault or blame on anyone. You know, the tow driver towed it Friday afternoon. I'm sure that he probably sees some of the coverage that you guys have provided us. Saw the description of the car, and then probably a lot.
This is a good move on a sheriff. You want the media on your side. Normally, there's a confrontational media kind of law enforcement government thing, because government just wants the media to be their lapdogs, and sometimes government doesn't do what they want, and they get pissed off, so it becomes adversarial. So the fact that he goes, you know, we found them based on your support for helping us out, they want to keep the story alive, because the media kills the story, that they're not going to get any tips, and they know they're too incompetent to find them by themselves because they're government.
I went off and said, hey, you know, I think I remember towing that car, and went out in the lot and found it.
But I guess I'm concerned because is it like you guys sent out a bulletin? So every agency should be getting a bulletin that you guys are looking for this car. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out, where was the ball dropped in terms of looking at the
Notice how they're not showing the side with the freaking damage where they tried to spray paint it. I think one of the articles shows it.
And that they had one.
You know, I'm not sure I followed that question, but are you saying the deputy that responded to the call?
No, they basically say you guys put out a bulletin to the entire
The car was towed on Friday. That bulletin went out, if I'm not mistaken, Tuesday morning. So, you know, there again, that's about a 4-day delay, and I'm sure at some point.
So they towed it Friday, and Tuesday they figured out it was in the investigation and called them. Wow, a lot of time. Time is your enemy when you're working these investigations, because people are moving, they're hiding, they're changing, etc. However, as time goes on, the odds of them getting caught is more, because they drop their guard, they run out of money, they use enough people that were helping them at first, and then people get tired of helping them, and then they piss somebody off, and then somebody calls in a tip and rats them out. So in the initial investigation, time is really your enemy. You have to get on it fast. But after so long, it becomes your friend, because, again, like I said,
Time, a light went off in this guy's head, and he thought, wait a minute, you know. I mean, they tow a lot of cars, you know. No credible sighting I'm aware of. The car was, there was nothing in the car. The car.
Okay, so this is kind of odd to me. They're traveling on a run, which means they're bringing everything they own with them. If nothing's in the car, that means either they left carrying everything they own, or they were at a hotel room or logged around there, and they were just going to either get supplies or to go get something, and they were going to go back and get their shit out of the room or wherever they stayed or their camp. It just doesn't make sense to me that two people that are carrying a shotgun, an AR, possibly a wheelchair, their suitcase, change of clothes, purse, ID, money, they're carrying all this stuff. You find a car and there's nothing in it. Either they had another car or all their shit went in the car and they parked somewhere. This is how my little mind's working when I'm hearing these and I don't even know all the facts, so they probably know more info.
The car was not inventoried by the record company, and the comment is there didn't appear to be anything in it. It had been, there had been an attempt to.
Now, I don't know about this. It wasn't inventoried by the tow company, which is normally, they have to interview or inventory it, so they can't be accused later of stealing shit. And now they're saying it appears there's nothing in it. There's a lot of unethical tow companies that when they tow a car, if it's stolen or something, they know it's going to the tow yard. They will take tools, they will take cameras, they will take anything they find. They will search the car and literally clean it out of everything, because they know the car is just going to be going to the PD for evidence or whatever. So tow companies don't do what I would call a thorough background on their tow truck drivers. I don't want to piss some tow truck. I had a buddy who was a tow truck driver, good dude. But even he said most tow truck drivers got some criminal history, can't really keep a job. They just do it because it's pretty good money and it's easy and they don't really have a lot of responsibility. Hey, here's a car, go get it. They hook it up and they drive it to the shop. It's not rocket science. Rick, I was a tow company driver and it's very difficult and there's a whole bunch of science and you don't understand it and it's really tough and you're making us. I'm not making you. I'm just telling you people. I made a comment about autism on my horse video and I had the freaking autism posse come out about how brilliant everybody with autism or an autism kid now thinks that their kid's going to have a TV show and become a freaking doctor. I mean, it's just crazy. I was so attacked and so berated with freaking comments just because I threw out the word autism in a horse behavior and there's no government to protect people that can't help themselves. And oh my God, you would think I freaking set off a nuclear bomb. I went back and just deleted the one word, and I haven't had any negative comments about the video, but whatever.
Spray painted, and I have some photos if you want to see it. It's a botched up job, but
it looks like shit.
What makes you think the car
Looks like they took a can of spray paint and they painted it green. They didn't even, it wasn't like they tried to paint the whole thing yellow or let's just make this look primer like it was. That they freaking painted it this green ass color on this orange car. I mean, they in their mind, because they're on the run and they're not thinking, they're not getting sleep. That's another thing I wanted to cover. When these people, when you're chasing somebody on a run, you keep the pressure on them, and it just gets, they get paranoid. They can't go out to eat. They're looking over their shoulder. They can't sleep. Every noise in the middle of the night, they think somebody's busted. I mean, I've caught a lot of people on the run, and I'm really surprised at how many people would say, dude, I'm glad you caught me, man. This running shit's bullshit. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. He goes, at least I can relax now. It's over. I mean, that's the mindset, but you have to keep the pressure on. You know, I've gotten some dudes like, motherfucker, you've been harassing my family. You've been doing this. You've been doing that. You fucking did that. You arrested my fucking, you've been a fucking pain in my ass. I fucking turned myself in so you stop harassing my family and everybody. Perfect. That's my job, is to make sure you got no support and anybody that supports you feels like they're going to get shit. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's why I got your ass. But anyway, I digress. Rick, you were Jack Lake booted. Whatever.
Well, because of where it was found, a rural road, county road, and call it in, which is what happened if I stand out so much.
Have you been large men's clothing and also at an adult store?
Or something, but that's the only explanation I really have.
Is there anything on video that you've seen to support that it was a romance?
Not that I've seen. Anyone, I saw a hand over here a while ago.
If anything, about how you're trying to track down these two.
I don't know, you know, it really doesn't leave us a lot. We just know what direction they were headed. You know.
They're showing this guy's picture with all this facial hair, yet when he escaped, he had no facial hair. I don't understand this. I don't think he could grow this facial hair in a week. It's been 1 week. And look at all this facial hair that they're showing this guy with. When he escaped, he was freaking bald and no facial hair. It's almost like they don't want to catch these guys. I don't get it. I mean, sometimes I give government, they're pretty freaking incompetent. But sometimes they're so incompetent, I'm like, are you intentionally trying to fuck this up?
Well, they headed north from here. Now, where they're after Friday afternoon when they abandoned that car, which direction they had them there, we don't know. You know, so on that particular issue,
You went the week prior, what can you say about?
we've been working on trying to find that, you know, find out what she had or whatever. But yes, I mean, they had plenty of cash.
Do you think she had more than 90 years?
Either KC or Vicky White in Middle Tennessee or in that northern direction on 65.
Not that we know of. That's something we'll be looking into for sure to see if we can find. Well, they were when they lost their vehicle. Now, you know, there again, did they steal another car? Did they hitch a ride with somebody or something? You know, we don't know.
It's kind of hard to hitch a ride when you got a shotgun, an AR, and a wheelchair and a suitcase. Not a lot of, I mean, call me sexist, racist, gun phobia, whatever. Not a lot of people are going to pick up a 6'9" dude carrying a gun, an AR, a shotgun, and a wheelchair, and he's got a little blonde with him. I mean, I know I'm judgmental, and I shouldn't, and they could be really nice people, but not a lot of people with 2 brain cells are going to pick them up.
Yeah. No, sir, we don't know right now.
Rick, how far off of 65 was the car left?
It looked like, I don't know, I haven't been to the scene. Looking at the map, it looked like maybe 2 or 3 miles east of 65, due east of Spring Hill, Tennessee.
So another thing we're looking at is if it's off a major highway, a lot of times if they're trying to hide, they'll take back roads. So and they'll parallel the highway and they'll go around because they don't want to get on a highway where cars drive by and can see them. So that's reasonable. But another thing is, did they take an exit? See, if we had it quicker, we could get some footage about what exit they took, when they took it. You just lose so much information when the car's been in custody for a freaking week and you didn't know it.
So, you know, it's hard to tell for sure. But obviously they were taking the back roads.
On our last report, we heard that.
You don't know they're taking the back roads. You assume they're taking the back roads. They could have just took an exit and were going to somebody's house. They may know somebody in the area. There may be some gang member, family member. We don't know. We don't know why they took that exit. Or they could have been traveling. You can't start ruling out too much because then you'll miss other leads.
They had potentially had AR-15, a shotgun, and some other weapons. Do you think that they might have taken those weapons with them or still armed?
I think anything they had in the car with them, they obviously took with them because there was nothing in the car. Those are weapons that Vicky White owned personally. We're assuming that they have those weapons.
Somebody told me that I had it wrong, that she didn't buy the guns, they were the police guns. I've never heard that except in one of my internet expert comment Navy SEAL guys on the internet that came out and told me I had it wrong, and they took the shotgun and AR out of the car. He just confirmed again that she bought those guns. All right?
With them. We don't know that for a fact, but we're on the side of safety. We're assuming they do have those weapons.
I guess we all assume that you guys are canvassing, or someone's canvassing that area right now. Any homes nearby to where the car was dropped off? Any structures that we should?
It's a sparsely populated area, but that might give us some lead.
No license plates when they show this picture.
To believe that anyone else
Wheels look clean. Looks like they cleaned it up. At least they're keeping the car clean.
out there in the community that were
Not a lot of bugs on here. Are they traveling at night? If they're traveling at night, you see a lot of bugs. I don't see a whole bunch of bugs. It doesn't look that dirty.
either the escape or assisting them once the escape was successful.
There's no indication I'm aware of that anyone else was involved other than Vicky White and Casey White.
Okay, when he makes this statement, there's no indication. That means everything we found in this entire investigation leads to her, and we haven't found anything that she called, she helped, somebody else knew, her mom didn't know, nobody knew. Now, are they lying? Maybe. But nothing they found indicates anybody but her.
Have there been any other credible sightings? I know you were asked about that area in Tennessee. Has there been any other credible sightings of these two?
None credible. The last text we received on our message board was that they were seen on I-5 headed north in Oregon in that orange car. So
Okay, so remember, you have two people scared to death, both going to prison for probably life, both armed, both running, both see their pictures on the TV and plastered everywhere, so they're changing their identity. They're running through their money. They can't talk to anybody. They can't contact anybody. They don't know who's going to set them up. They have to be suspicious of everybody. They can't sleep. This is a disaster of, you may think that two people will become close because of this. It's not. It's complete opposite. They are fighting. They are getting on each other's nerves. They are stressing out in different ways, and in those different ways is stressing out the other party. All kind of dynamics going on here that's why it's so hard for two people on the run to last. Now, it's different if you got a man and a wife who are running because, they want to see their kid, or they abducted their kid and they want to start their life. That's different kind of stress. They're going to go to a non-extradition country and they think they're going to get away with it, whatever. Those are different situations. This situation, you got an alpha male who's freaking killed his other girlfriend, who's a murderer, who's already facing the death penalty, and now he's facing life and the death penalty. He's got nothing to lose. He'll kill her. He'll kill a cop. He'll kill a citizen. He'll kill a person that cleans his room. He doesn't care. So he's the one guy. Now you got this girl who may not have killed anybody, yet, but she's on the run. She's turned on her family. She's turned on all her friends. She's thrown her life away. She's looking at prison. She sold her house. She has nothing to go back to. She's stuck. Man, I'm surprised they last this long. I really thought they'd have them by now.
And that was this afternoon, or this morning.
You've been in law enforcement for many years. What is your gut telling you about this whole situation?
My gut is telling me that they're obviously on the run, and that they're probably right now. I think the fact that they abandoned this car so quick and where they abandoned it, I think it threw them a curve. A week ago today, that this happened. Minutes till 2, which is 2:08 right now. They had this problem, and so.
To break down and leave it aside, what are the possible avenues of transportation?
Well, obviously, they could have walked, or someone could have picked them up. I mean, that's really, as we speak, they're working on researching to see if any vehicles were reported stolen in that area or where they were missing. So,
Just because there's no reported vehicles, this is a common mistake by a lot of cops. I can't tell you the number of cars that I stopped when I was working auto theft that were what's called unreported stolens. I run the plate, not stolen. I run the VIN, not stolen. The guy gets out. He says, I borrowed it from my uncle, not stolen. I get the registration. No indications of stolen other than my gut saying this doesn't add up. So I contact the registered owner. I have dispatch do a reverse, call the registered owner and ask him if they know where their car's at. And then at that point, if the guy hears me, he runs, or the dispatch calls back and go, They thought the car was in the garage. They just went out and checked their car's gone. That's called an unreported stolen. People don't recognize it. So they could have stolen a car and it's still unreported. So you can't just go, hey, I checked, there's no stolen car, so they didn't steal a car. That's not true.
If somebody saw them walking down the road, they might have just picked them up.
Sheriff, are you still concerned for...
Yeah, I want to pick up those two. Yeah, carrying an AR, and a shotgun, and a suitcase, and a wheelchair.
Vicky White's safety?
I am. I'll be concerned for her safety until we know she's safe.
I'm concerned for her safety. This is so bullshit. I ain't concerned for her safety. Her dumb ass broke him out. I don't give a shit about her. Taxpayers are paying an extreme amount of money to find and locate because she used her position to break a guy out. I don't give two shits about her. Rick, that's not fair. She's a woman and you should care. And shut up with that shit. Her ass is no better than him, and I don't give a shit about him or her. They both need to have their ass in custody. That's the only thing I care about.
This guy is, he's volatile. I mean, anything could set him off, and at any time he could just lose it and decide she's a hindrance to him, and harm her. So
now that's true. I'm surprised he ain't got rid of her yet, because she's definitely dead weight. But she has the money, and she's a good cover. If she's pushing him in a wheelchair, that's great cover. If he gets rid of her, he got nobody to push him in a wheelchair. Now he's got to walk, and now he's got nobody else to go to, and the money runs out, and he kills. Right now, even if her money runs out, he's going to be able to talk her into, can't you call your mom and get some money? Now, obviously, either mom's cooperating or they think she's cooperating. I don't give a shit if I think she's cooperating or not. I got a tap on her phone. I got a tap on her cell phone. I got a tap on her. I probably got units sitting on her house waiting for her to leave or go follow. I mean, this guy's a pretty serious dude. You got enough manpower to where you need to lock down all avenues of help to her. So,
Sheriff, some people we spoke to have called Vicky smart and calculated. I mean, do you think that she's sort of one step ahead of...
I never hear these questions.
Has all of this planned out?
I think that her knowledge of corrections and her knowledge of the procedures that we use here in the sheriff...
She's a correctional officer. She's not a police officer. Correctional officers are not cops. They don't go through a police academy. They don't work the streets and go out there and handle calls and learn investigations, how to deal with people. They work the jail. Correctional officers work the jail. That doesn't mean that they don't have certain things because they deal with prisoners inside. They learn how they work the system. They learn how to sneak things in. They learn how they communicate. They learn a lot of things about the inner workings of the jail. But she does not have a lot of investigative police knowledge out there. They may blow her up to where she's this strong, empowered, great woman that rose to the top and was the assistant director of the corrections. She's not... The fact on what she did shows she's not a freaking rocket scientist.
Sheriff's office on transport most definitely played to her advantage. I think this was a very well thought out plan, and and her knowledge is sort of put us.
Very well thought out is an understatement. She's got aliases. She bought cars. She staged a car. She sold her house. She got money. She got cash. She put in her retirement papers. She let everybody know she. I mean, she did put some planning into this. That doesn't mean that she put planning into their escape. Obviously, she bought a piece of shit car that broke down 2 hours in their getaway. Not rocket science. Rick, she's a strong, empowered woman. How dare you?
What's the word I'm looking for? We're sort of at a loss as to, but
Warrants at either the home that Vicky White used to own.
I would not be surprised if they hadn't done search warrant. I'm not aware that for a fact that they did, but I know they followed every lead, so I haven't asked them about this. And we know she has used those aliases. That was another piece of information that was
I think this other video has the two aliases she used.
Inadvertently let out earlier this week, so I'm assuming she's probably ditched those aliases.
You say that the cameras are here now. We're making director appeals. What would you say?
The same thing I've been saying. I'm sorry.
The
thing I've been saying. We're going to find you. Hopefully we find you safe. If you're safe right now, still safe, get out while you can and turn yourself in to local authorities, wherever.
Now, him talking to her like this, I mean, in one way, he's trying to talk some sense and making her realize that she's in danger. She doesn't think she's in danger. She freaking let a killer, a murderer who tried to kill his girlfriend, who was facing the death penalty, who was serving 75 years to life. She threw away her entire life to get this guy out. Raise your hand if you think she's thinking clearly. It's just crazy. But, I mean, he's trying to appeal to her. But, you know what? If I was doing his press interview, I'd be like, she's an idiot. She deserves what she gets. She's going to jail. She's either going to get justice from us or from him. And it's too late. But you do what you got to do. because we're going to do what we got to do. That would be my press conference, but I'm not sheriff either.
You're right. Yes, ma'am.
Are we aware of any other surveillance video either here in Tennessee that has maybe spotted them at all? Did their car or themselves in the kind of store?
All right.
Or in Tennessee?
The investigators actually went out and viewed the video. We do not have copies of that video, but we do know that she was spotted on video at the Quality Inn directly behind Logan's. And I know that's been the case in a couple other cases where they viewed the video. We don't actually have copies.
Okay, so here's the things that they're not really saying. They got video, she was spotted, and they've seen it. That tells me they know what she's wearing, and she knows what she's doing with her hair. All these pictures are coming out now with her in this black hair and what she looks like with black hair. That's not by accident. I think they have pictures or indications that that's how she changed her hairstyle. Now that they're putting out these pictures, she may change it again. I mean, I don't know how many, one guy, I'm going to show his interview in a minute. He says she looks old, and he goes, if she puts on a gray wig and looks like a little old lady, nobody will suspect her. He goes, they're making her out this young, and they're showing these pictures that she looks like this young, fit person. I mean, she looked semi-young to me coming out. She didn't look like a little old lady when she walked out with him. But anyway, I think this thing is pretty much over anyway.
Well, I mean, I think it's probably logical and reasonable to assume she's probably tried to alter her appearance for obvious reasons.
How would you categorize where this investigation is?
It's behind where we'd like for it to be. We wish we had a lot more progress. It's been a week. I wish we.
Every investigation is behind where I'd like to be. I like them solved in the same freaking day within a few hours. Anything other than that is behind where I want it to be.
So back in custody within hours. If you see something, regardless of how
aliases to report it correctly.
We've confirmed his phone communication. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank y'all so much, and thank you again for helping us.
Okay, so this one's over. Let me get the other one. And here's where they're really showing a lot of videos, and they're interviewing different people that knew this woman. So this is what she looks like. When they show this old deputy picture, cops don't usually refresh their picture every week, every month, every year. Cops take the initial picture when they get hired, and they usually don't take another one. No agency makes you have an updated picture. Now, the only time they'll get an updated picture is if they're doing an IA on you, and they're doing an internal, and they need to show your picture to the suspect so he can identify you. Then they'll go, hey, man, we need to get a current picture of you. And then they'll have you come in, they'll snap a current picture. But nobody really updates their file photos like they're releasing here of this woman. No telling how long ago this picture was taken.
Thought she was. And Casey White, a murder suspect who is much more evil than anyone could have imagined. This is an unlikely pair caught up in a web of... It has been asked Vicky abandoned...
Telling me that I think...
Florence, Alabama. Brian, now that the getaway was not...
It was found in a rural part of Tennessee, but the sheriff says it was not necessarily hidden, which makes him think that they had changed the color of it. But what's so frustrating right now for law enforcement, Marnie, is that car was actually discovered a week ago.
There's the picture of the paint job they did. Are you kidding me? This is what I'm talking about when these people are on the run and they're not thinking clear. Who in their right mind says, hey, they reported that we had damage on the rear. Let's cover it up. What the you just made everybody see this car and go, damn, what happened to that car? You just brought 10 times the attention to this car with your shitty ass paint job. What? They're not thinking, look, we don't catch the smart ones, right? Smart ones get away, we never catch them, okay?
In Tennessee. Someone spotted it, thought it was odd that it was abandoned. It was towed to a tow yard, but it was not until today that the law enforcement officials in Tennessee contacted the sheriff's office here in Alabama and said, wait a minute, we think this is their car. So it basically gave Vicky and Casey 1 week, wait a minute, we think this is their...
Kohl's department store, adult store. Oh, these are the places that they saw her going to. I missed this when I first viewed this because I was kind of like bouncing through it. So I know they said they got her going into Kohl's and they got her going into an adult store, but the employees won't talk. When the employees won't talk, that normally means law enforcement has contacted them because they saw her and they said, don't release any of this. This is an ongoing investigation. If you release any of this, you can be charged with obstruction. We don't want this getting out to the public. So if anybody comes and asks you, say you can't talk. And that's exactly what Kohl's and adult did, which is why I think where they're getting this wheelchair information and this hair color change. But she went to 2 banks. Why is she going to a bank? Is she writing checks? Does she have a bank account? Why is she going to a bank? That doesn't make sense to me. She's getting a cashier's check? I don't know why she's going to a bank. Maybe she kept a bank account in one of her alias names and she's withdrawing money. If she did, they don't want to release that because then she'll stop taking the money out. But the fact they said she went into 2 banks may tip them off the way, hey man, we got to get all that money out of the bank now. Maybe she couldn't take 90 grand out of the bank. She didn't plan as well, and she didn't have 90 grand cash. Maybe she kept it in the bank. And again, they're not releasing this because every time she makes a withdrawal, that's a fresh new lead.
Law enforcement officials in Tennessee contacted the sheriff's office here in Alabama and said, wait a minute, we think this is their car. So it basically gave Vicky and Casey 1 week to run, and no one even knew they weren't in the car anymore.
Brian, you've been on the ground there for about 24 hours, digging, talking to people who knew both.
That looks like fresh new damage.
They weren't in the car anymore.
On this side.
Brian, you've been on the ground there for about 24 hours, digging, talking.
Right there. It almost looks like they hit something. Because they said there was, on the original picture, there was a little damage here. All this looks new damage from the first picture I saw.
To people who knew both Vicky and also has gotten more. So you've been
A lot. This is definitely a community and a region on edge right now. Everyone knew this couple. People especially knew Vicky White because she was from this town. She worked at the jail for almost 2 decades, and people are still trying to mentally process how all of this could have happened.
Almost no one could have suspected that Vicky White, the longtime assistant director of corrections and
Long-time assistant director. Nobody could suspect it. That's why she got away with it.
Lauderdale County, Alabama, had set
So when this happened, it was such a shock. But she was not a big talker, is not a big talker, but got things done.
Lauderdale County District Attorney Chris Connolly has worked with Vicky for 16 years.
Yeah, it's like the stages of grief. You could say this unbelievable.
So when he's talking about this stage of grief, that's the problem with government. Is you start making these relationships, friends, you work with people, and now there's this connection and there's this loyalty and there's this payback, and you do me favors and I do you favors, and we're always better than the pesky citizen, and we give each other special treatment because we know each other, and meanwhile the pesky citizens just pay taxes, screw them. So this has always been my big complaint with government. So he's talking about this grief period because he liked her, he trusted her, they did each other favors, they got to know each other. And now he's like, shit, she screwed me over. I didn't really know her. Well, no shit. Because government hires a bunch of freaking idiots.
Didn't happen. And then, you get to the point where I am now, which I'm mad.
He's mad because it made him look bad. He's mad because he trusted her. He's mad because everybody's like, dude, how can you not see this? What kind of idiot are you? He knows it reflects badly on him. That's why he's mad.
That she did this.
Inmates inside the jail are also shocked. This woman just bonded out.
This woman just bonded out. They got some woman that bonded out to talk with her purple-ass freaking hair who was out there at a peaceful protest probably in a car with no freaking side panel over here. It looks like the car's been stripped and is stolen. And here the news people is doing an interview with her.
Did you ever get a weird vibe from her when you were in jail?
No, not at all.
No, why would I get a weird vibe? She liked prisoners. She was sneaking extra food. She was just like one of us. Yeah, perfect. Why would you get a weird vibe from somebody that's freaking helping the criminals?
No, I never did. I never thought that she would, break any kind of rules like that.
Never thought she would break any rules. Really? What do you know? You're a freaking convict in freaking jail. You don't know any of the COs. You don't know the assistant director. What? How many times did you talk to her? How many times have you had a conversation? Do you know if she has kids? Do you know anything about her life? No, but I don't think she'd ever break the rules. This is an idiot interview.
She was the person you could go to if you were having problems with any kind of COs or anything like that.
Having been in jail, are you surprised that she was able to get him out like that?
No.
Why not?
Because it's chaos here.
Now she's got credibility with me. She finally said something that I believe. Not surprised she'd get her out because the entire jail's chaos. Wow. All the clues, all the problems. People that have lived here have commented on these videos saying this jail is a mess. This isn't the first time it's happened. They've always got shit going on. This area just seems like your typical small town. We're going to hire buddies and people we feel comfortable with. And we're not going to enforce the rules because rules are for the pesky citizens, not for us.
Detectives are piecing together the days before Vicky vanished with inmate Casey White.
Look at this. No facial hair and short hair.
There have been reports Vicky was seen inside this department store buying men's clothing.
So now she's buying men clothing. If she's in a store and we got reports, that means we have video. We know what she's wearing. We know that she's paying cash. And we probably have other video when she left the store where she went and what car she got into. But we don't want to release that because it'll tip them off.
Workers inside told me they could not comment. And others report seeing Vicky at this adult store before she took off. A woman working inside told me her lawyer advised her not to talk about.
So she went in the adult store. Lawyer told her not to talk. What did she buy? Did she buy male toys or female toys or transgender toys or neutral toys? What was she buying? Was she buying movies? How did she pay? What did she look like? Another good lead.
Whether or not Vicky was a customer. The sheriff confirms Vicky and Casey were having a...
Porn shops are not what I would call a good cooperating witness with the police. Because the police are always trying to bust them for doing some bullshit, and it usually brings in a lot of filth into the neighborhood, and it looks like shit. So normally, most cops don't like porn shops, or because it's usually problems, it's fights, it's drugs, it's people on meth going in there to get their freaking sex porn. So they're not usually cooperative anyway. So I don't know if they said no because they were told or because they just said, screw it. We ain't saying nothing, nobody. We don't want our customers thinking we're going to tell on them.
Romantic relationship. Vicky lived in this house.
Look at this house. Pretty good sized house. Needs to cut her damn grass. I mean, you're planning an escape. You can't plan to cut your yard? Look at this place.
It's 18 miles.
Looks like she watered her plants on the step at least. They're not dried up and shriveled up, so she watered them before she left.
From the Lauderdale County Jail, but sold the house days before she disappeared.
Oh, look at her nice little name on there. She put that on there in honor of Casey because I just love him. So I put your name on my mailbox. Oh, thanks, baby. When we getting out of this joint?
Appeared with Casey for $90,000, well under market value.
Is that all money that she would have?
When I see this DA, I'm like, dude, what are you? What is this room used as an alternative Catholic priest entertainment area? What are these little benches and little kids? So, look, if we had an interview room, maybe this is small DA's office, so he does interviews in here on child neglect or child porn or child molestation or something. You have these little dolls. If you get a kid in here, you want to make them feel comfortable. I don't know why he would have a bunch of kids in his office. So for him to have all these little stuffed animals and toys in his office seems a little weird. I don't know the situation. When I worked child abduction, I had this in a room. We had a special room. It was set up for kids. It was painted pink, had little flowers, had toys, had a little kiddie table, because we did interviews on there when we had child issues. But for a DA to have it in his office, I found that a little weird. But Rick, why you picking on him? You just don't like him because whatever.
Like, is it cash? Is it?
My understanding is that yes, that she got that money out of the bank. I mean, you know,
In cash.
and you know, and I saw where her mother said she was also a frugal person, so she likely had a pretty sporty amount of money.
So this guy knows more than he's saying. You notice how he's holding back and he doesn't really want to say, and he's very thinking before he says. He didn't answer the question, did she get it out on cash? Because he don't want to tip out if she left some in there and she went to 2 banks and she's taking cash out like an idiot. He doesn't want to say that because they're using that to track. So he's definitely holding back. Look at his forehead wrinkle and the question. Watch him when he gets these questions.
Like, is it cash? Is it?
My understanding is that yes, that she got that money out of the bank. I mean, you know,
In cash.
See the lips? See the looking down, the closing the eyes? These are all I'm holding back. I can't say, I don't want to say. So I'm not a body reading expert. I'm just telling you after interviewing, 100,000, whatever people I've interviewed in my life, you can pick up, you become like they called us human lie detectors because you could just tell when somebody's bullshitting you. He's holding back.
and you know, and I saw where her mother said she was also a frugal person.
Forehead wrinkle.
So she likely had a pretty sporty amount of money on top of that.
Vicky was divorced but still lived with her ex until he passed away in January from
So she's divorced and lived with her ex. I never understood that. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. Wasn't because they had kids. She just lived with them.
Parkinson's. They had no kids, and the sheriff wonders if she was grief-stricken.
Grief-stricken. So we're making excuses. 2 years ago, she was grief-stricken, so she decided to bust a guy out of jail. It's not her fault. She's really a good person. She was Officer of the Year 4 times. She was the assistant director, Rick.
They've been divorced for several years, but I think they were still on speaking terms. And I wondered if that might have had something to do with this or not.
Making excuses.
Vicky's mom, Pat, lives right next door to the house Vicky lived in. She did not want to go on camera.
I think that was her mom's house.
This or not.
Vicky's mom, Pat, lives right next door to the house Vicky lived in. She did not want to go on camera, but told me this is not the daughter she knew, and that all of this has come as a total shock. But there are some...
Of course. Oh, it's a mom. She was just about to enter doctor school. She was working on her med degree. She was such a wonderful child. I called her baby and hugged her. She used to go to the store and get Skittles and go out jogging. She was such a good kid.
Some people who knew Vicky who are not as surprised. Right now we're going to meet up with one man who worked with Vicky at the jail.
Vicky was Tyson Johnson's boss for 7 years at the jail before he says he was wrongfully terminated. He says she is smart and calculated and has a dark side.
Where do you think she is right now?
That's a good question.
She has a dark side. Really? I wonder how many people didn't like her and saw her dark side. She had power, and she abused that power. And if she abused that power to break out a freaking murderer, does anybody think she didn't abuse it to hurt people that she didn't like and to help people she liked? Women can be just as abusive as men with power. Power is never a good thing, which is why we should hold the government accountable and limit their power.
That is a very good question. Has thought this entire thing out. She definitely outsmarted the sheriff. She outsmarted the administrator of the jail.
This guy's throwing them down. You freaking idiots.
The U.S. Marshals released these photos.
Okay, so they didn't release these photos earlier. I mean, this is a pretty good tattoo. It says Southern Pride. It's got a chain, junkyard dog chained up.
Showing Casey White's tattoos and also what Vicky might look like with brown.
All these brown hair photos they're releasing tells me either at the hotel or at Kohl's or at somewhere, she was either wearing a wig or she changed her
hair.
And also, Vicky used the tanning bed a lot and laid out in the sun.
So this guy says she used to tan a lot and lay in the sun. So this is a good tip that we're not really getting out. He says she's kind of wrinkled up. The pictures they're showing are different.
And Vicky may have been 57 years old, but she looks 75. The photos that they're
She looks 75. Wow.
releasing of her, there's a filter. They're all bright on the face because it's not showing the true her. A lot of people, former employees that have called me, it's like, if Vicky dyed her hair gray and put on some old lady clothes and glasses, she could walk right by you and you would never know it.
That is a great disguise. And if she does do that, you know, no makeup. Again, she's got makeup, lipstick on, her hair's nice and thing. If you're on a run, you change all that. A lot of people, you know, they say in this country, old people are kind of like invisible. So if you want to get invisible, act old. Like I said, sometimes I walk like I'm old. Sometimes I walk like I'm old correctly because I'm freaking hurting. But sometimes I do it on purpose just in case some idiot wants to come try to take advantage and be like, oh, yeah, you want some? Come get it.
How long will Vicky and Casey avoid capture? Their getaway car now found, but law enforcement admits the fugitives have been one step ahead of them and could be anywhere.
I think that her knowledge of corrections most definitely played her.
I do. I can't see her as smart as she is holed up somewhere around here, but
I can't see her as smart as she is holed up. They are giving this woman, they're still in denial about how stupid this woman is. She freaking shouldn't have been promoted, probably shouldn't have been doing the job, outsmarted your dumbass policies, broke somebody out. But the only way to save face is to say how smart she was because she made us look like freaking fools. Jesus.
who knows? Obviously, I didn't know her as well as I thought I did.
And important to point out, if anyone sees Vicky or Casey White, the sheriff is emphasizing to stay.
Okay, that's pretty much, I think we got. Oh, there might be one other thing. Hang on.
Away. They believe the couple right now is armed and dangerous. They believe they have an AR-15 and a shotgun.
So he's hard to miss. But you talked to some people today who...
Absolutely. The district attorney, who is very much a part of this investigation, says they are working on one theory, that it is possible that they have a wheelchair with them and that Vicky is actually pushing Casey in a wheelchair and that he may have a wig on to disguise himself as a woman. She has him in the wheel.
Oh, he's identifying as a woman. So now he can get into a woman's bathroom. She can roll him in a woman's bathroom. He doesn't have to run in any men in public bathrooms. She can roll him in a woman's bathroom with him. Goodness. I mean, this is a pretty good little scam they got going on, and they are thinking. So
wheelchair possibly so that you can't tell how tall he is. They're not sure that that's what's happening. It's one thing they're looking into. They're also not sure where they are tonight. They say at this point they could be anywhere.
And if you see them, do not approach.
All right. So that's an update on the big manhunt, woman hunt, couple hunt, the couple in love hunt. They're out there trying to find happiness, and the mean government's trying to put them in jail. Well, in that there,